Hello, this lesson is linear equations. So we're going to look at solving them so that we can, um, remind ourselves how to do that. So here are the linear equations that we're going to look at, or some of them. Let's start with that first one. So what you do with linear equations is you kind of keep it in balance. So whatever you do to the left of the equal sign, you need to do to the right as well. And our goal is to leave this letter, which is called a variable, to either the left side and all the numbers on right, or we can leave it on the right side and then all the numbers on the left, whichever is easier. Right now, when n is on the left, we're going to leave it on the left and we're going to move this 12 to the right side of the equal sign. And the way we move it is we do the opposite operation of what we're seeing here. So we're seeing an addition plus 12. So we're going to subtract 12 from both sides. And 12 minus 12 is a 0. 4 minus 12 is negative 8. So n equals negative 8. Now, on this next one, E, we have 4x equals 36. And now, remember that in between the number and the letter, so in between 4 and x, there is a multiplication sign or a multiplication. We just don't put the sign on there because we know that it is a multiplication. So this is a multiplication. The opposite operation of multiplication is division. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide both sides by 4. What happens is 4 divided by 4 equals 1. So now we have 1x. We don't write that 1 necessary, or don't write it when, like, just like here in front of this n, there is a 1 because we have that. It's an n. So we don't write that 1 in front of it, so we're just going to put x equals 36 divided by 4 is 9, and that is our answer. Now, for this next one, we have v divided by 3 equals negative 11. So we are dividing by 3, where we need to use the opposite operation, which would be multiplying by 3. And again, what we do on the left, we do on the right. 3 divided by 3, again, is 1. So this becomes a 1v. So v equals negative 11 times 3, which is negative 33. Do not forget that negative sign. And we talked about those negative signs earlier, where if you have a negative and a positive, it is a negative. So a negative and a positive becomes a negative, or a positive and a negative becomes a negative, because that negative sign doesn't have a friend to put. Become a plus sign. If we have a negative and a negative, it is a positive, and if we have a positive and a positive, it is a positive. Because these two, if we have two negatives here, we can make a plus sign. So this is for multiplication and division. Okay, let's look at our next one. So w minus 9 equals 22. So we have a subtraction. We're going to do the opposite, which is a addition. And we are adding that 9 to both sides. So negative 9 plus 9 is a 0. So we get w equals 31. Next one, we have a negative 7t equals 42. Again, there's a multiplication in between the negative 7 and the t. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide by negative 7, both sides. So these become a 1. When you divide a number by itself, it's 1. So we have t equals 42 divided by negative 7 is negative 6. And again, please use a calculator just so that you don't make like simple mistakes in these. Okay, let's look at this next one. And I'm actually going to use a little bit of extra room here. So we have negative 1/5 y equals negative 20. I like to do these underneath so that I can see that I'm doing everything correctly. In here, there's not that much room, but usually it's easier to see your mistakes if you do it over here. Okay, so we are multiplying y by a negative 1/5. So now what we want to do is we want to get rid of this 5 here, or move it to this side. Well, the 5, this whole thing, we can rewrite it like this. So 1 times y is y. We're not writing that y. And we can put the negative sign in front of the 5 and do it like this. So y divided by negative 5 equals negative 20. Now we can see that we have a division. So what we would do is multiply both sides by negative 5, and these become a 1, and then y equals negative 20 minus, or negative 20 times negative 5, which is a positive 100. So y equals 100. So this is something that we can do when we have a 1 on the top here. If instead of that 1, I'm going to show you, if we had, for example, negative 2/5 y equals negative 20. So what we can do is we can break this into pieces. So again, we can rewrite this so that we have a negative 2y divided by 5. We can write the y on that same, or above that fraction line. That equals negative 20. So now we have this division here, so we can multiply by 5 both sides. So these become a 1. So we have negative 2y equals negative 100. And then we have a multiplication here. So we're going to divide. And don't forget to take that negative sign with you. So negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. So we have y equals negative 100 divided by negative 2 is a 50. So y equals 50. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this for you to work on, just for extra practice. And I'm going to hop on to the next page because that has several steps, or a couple of steps that we're going to be, working on instead of just doing the one step solving equations. So over here, as you can see, we have the first one is 3n plus 8 equals 20. So what we want to do is we want to first get rid of this number here and isolate just the variable with whatever the coefficient is in the number in the front. So what we're going to do first is we're going to subtract both sides by 8. So we get 3n. This becomes a 0. 20 minus 8 is 12. Now we have the n isolated on the left. We want to get rid of this 3. So we're going to divide by 3, both sides again. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so n equals 4. Okay, let's go down here. We have 2d minus 9 equals negative 29. Again, we want to move this -9 first before we start doing anything to the variable or the number in front of the variable. So we want to move all the numbers first, and then whatever is in front of the letter, we're going to move that last. So we have a -9 or a -9. We're going to add 9 so that these cancel each other out, and we get 2d equals -20. And now we have a multiplication in between here. So we're going to divide by 2. These become a 1. So we have d equals -10. Next one, we have x divided by 2 plus 7 equals 11. We're going to subtract 7 from both sides. So these cancel each other out. We get x over 2 equals 4. 11 minus 7 is 4. Now we have a division here. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by 2 both sides. So these become a 1. We have x, 1x equals 4 times 2, which is 8. X equals 8. Okay, next one. We've got v divided by -6 plus 2 equals -1. Again, we need to move this 2 to the right side first. So we are subtracting, so these cancel each other out. We have v divided by -6 equals -1 minus 2 is -3. We have a division, so we're going to multiply by -6. These become a 1, so we have 1v equals 18. Again, negative and a negative become a positive. Okay, let's look at this one more example here. So 12y plus 25 equals -35. We're going to subtract the 25 because we want to move that first. These become 0. 12y equals, this is going to be -80. And then we are dividing by 12 because we have a multiplication there. Dividing by 12, and we get hold on a second. That's not 80. That is a 60. That's what I was like. Hold on a second. This doesn't match. That is a 60. So -60 divided by 12, y equals -5. Yes, look for those mistakes that I make. And email me if you find any. If you have any questions, just please, please, please don't hesitate to email me about them. Okay, so I'm going to show you here what I basically want you to do is try both of these that we just did on your own. The rest here, and of course on MyMathLab there's a whole bunch of problems as well that you can practice on. What I'm actually going to do now is so if you continue working on these, I'm going to show the correct answers here so you can check them, pause the video and work on these, and then check that you got it correct. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call me. So here's that first page and the correct answers for that one. So pause the video so that you can check yours. And here's the second page and the correct answers for that one. Oh, let me see. Let me see if I can get the bottom ones. You don't need to basically worry about the bottom ones. They are a bit of extra from what we're going to be doing. But if you're curious on how they're done, there's your answers. Okay, and again, please don't hesitate to call me if you have any questions. Bye.